Hey there. This is the Unit 5 study guide, and we did a practice assessment in class today. We went over it, but I wanted to go over it for you parents. So the first one says Sally eats 2/3 of a granola bar. Maya eats 3/4 of a same-sized granola bar. The important thing here is that they are the same size, so we can compare them. If they weren't the same size, we could not compare them because they would not have the same total amount. Sally thinks that she ate more, and Maya thinks she ate more. Shade the two models to show who ate more of the granola bar. So the first one we're going to do is Sally, and we're going to partition that into thirds. So 1, 2, 3 parts. So we've partitioned it into thirds. And we know that she ate 2/3 of it, so we're going to go ahead and shade in 2/3. Maya ate 3/4, so we need to partition this into fourths. These are not exact, but we do the best we can. And we're going to shade 3 out of those 4 pieces to show that Maya ate 3/4. Now we can see right here that Maya ate more. So when we're comparing fractions right now, we're not using anything except for a model and landmark fractions and comparing denominators and numerators. So in this case, our denominators are different and our numerators are different. So we use a model, and we can see that Maya ate more. So we will say that Maya ate more of the granola bar. We could also examine the piece that was left over. 1/3 of a granola bar is going to be larger than 1/4. That's what would have been left over after they ate. Number 2, which fractions are equivalent to 3/4? Well, right away I can see 3/4, 3/6. They have the same numerator, so we know that they cannot be equivalent. So I can go ahead and mark off A. And then I know that this one, and this one have 6/8. So I'm going to figure out, is 3/4 equivalent to 6/8? And to do that, I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by 2, because I know 3 times 2 gives me 6, and 4 times 2 gives me 8. Whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom when I'm making equivalent fractions. So for sure, 6/8 is correct. Now, I need to determine 25 hundredths, 75 hundredths, or 50 hundredths. So I'm going to take my 3/4 again, and they all have 100 in common. So I'm going to use logic, and I'm going to say, all right, well, the denominator is going to have 100. So 4 times some number gets me to 100. Well, I know there are 4 quarters in a dollar, so 4 times 25 gets me to 100. So whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 25. Well, I know that 3 quarters is 75, so 3 times 25 is 75. So 6/8 is equivalent to 3/4, and 75 hundredths is equivalent to 3/4. So C is the correct answer there. Number 3 is saying to find equivalent fractions for 2/5. So I've told the students most often, you're just going to go straight ahead for the easiest one. 2 times 2 is 4, and 5 times 2 is 10. And then I can do another one, and I'll go to 3. And 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 3 is 15. I can go, another easy one is times 10. 20 30ths. I could also do 2/3 and multiply the top and bottom by 5. 5s are usually easy, so that's 10 15ths. Those are 4 different ones. You can, they only need to show 2, but they do need to show their work, so I should see something like this, or they may have wanted to make a model, and in that case, they're going to partition their rectangle into fifths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. We acknowledge that they're not exact. And then I'm going to shade 2 of those. Then I can partition it into 2 more equal parts, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tenths, 4 tenths. I could do it that way too. All right, number 4. Mark made this model, which shows an equivalent fraction to 9/12. Well, I see there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 12 altogether. 9 are shaded. We can also see that there are 4 ovals, and 3 of those ovals have shaded boxes, so it's going to be 3/4. We're going to look at number 5. Which model is shaded to show a fraction equivalent to 1/4? Well, I'm going to look at these, and I see that this one has 4 columns. This one only has 3 columns, so I'm not going to have 1/4 there. This has 4 columns, and this has 4 columns. So this right now is 2 out of 8, but I can see that this is 1 column shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So that would be equivalent to 1/4. This one is 2/6, or equivalent to 1 column out of 3. I am looking for 1/4, so A would be my answer. This one would be 2/4, or 1/2. And this would be 1/8. Students are encouraged to go ahead and write the fraction out to the side to help them if need be. We've talked about many different strategies. That's just one of them. Shade the models to show an equivalent fraction for 8/10. So first thing we do is we go ahead and we shade 8 of these squares. Oops, Miss Lawson got a little shade happy there. So those two are not shaded. And then I'm going to see where these lines meet up, and I want to shade that portion. And then I can see there are 5 total pieces, and 4 of those are shaded. So my equivalent fraction is 4/5. Look at the fraction strips. So we have 5/5 and thirds, and we need to figure out which number sentence is true. When we talked about this in class today, we talked about how 1/3 is greater than 1/5, 2/5 is greater than 1/3, 2/3 is greater than 3/5, and 4/5 is greater than 2/3. We can do any combination there. So then we're going to go down here and we're going to look. 2/3 is less than 3/5. Well, here's 2/3 and here's 3/5. That's not correct. So we're going to mark that out. 1/3 is greater than 4/5. Here's 1/3 and here's 4/5. I'm going to cross that one out. 1/3 is less than 2/5. Well, there we found our answer. But we're going to go ahead and check that last one too. 1/5 is greater than 1/3. Nope. Sorry, I didn't have that in the screen there. So that is 1/3 less than 2/5. All right, on the other side here, we have a chart. It says the fraction of students buying lunch. The same number of students attend school all week. Answer the following questions using the table. Show all of your work. So, did more students buy lunch on Tuesday or Thursday? Well, Tuesday, 1/2 bought lunch, and we're going to compare that to 6/8. So one thing we've talked about is making a model, and we have 1/2. We want to make our models the same length, and we're going to go, here's 4ths, and we need that to be 8ths. And we're going to color 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can see by our model that 6/8 is greater. Did more students buy lunch on Wednesday or Thursday? Well, on Wednesday, 3/4 bought lunch, and on Thursday, 6/8 bought lunch. Again, we're going to go ahead and make our model. When we're working with these smaller fractions, we can make models When we get to 5th grade, we will start using common denominators and other things like that. But for right now, we are looking at models, and we are looking at landmark fractions, and we'll talk about that in just a second on the next question. There's 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6/8. Those two fractions are equivalent. So, same number of students bought Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, that would be the answer to that. We've talked about how to explain those, and we're going to go on to 9 and 10. Place fractions 4/8, the fraction 4/8 on the number line. So be sure to place 1/2 on the number line as well. So we're going to go ahead and start with our landmark of 1/2. We look at 0, 1/2, and 1, and we talk about whether it's less than 1/2 or greater than 1/2, if it's close to 1 whole or close to 0. 4/8, your students should be able to tell you that 4/8 is equal to 1/2 because 4 is half of 8, so we know that it is equal to 1/2. And here on this one, we're going to do the same thing. We have our 4/8, and then we're going to find an equivalent fraction. And we had anything from 1/2 to 2/4 to 8/16, and all of them would go right here in the same place because they're all equivalent. I hope this helps clear up any misconceptions about fractions. Please email if you have any other questions.